3.
And welcome to the William Screen. This is episode number 41. Welcome to the podcast. Tonight we have a very special guest. ImTheBlueRanger has returned for a little bit more of a pounding than he's getting usually. Tonight we're going to be discussing a few topics. Destiny, of course, is always on the docket, but we're going to be talking about the release of information about Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to be talking about the new hard mode raid. Is it that much harder, and what do we expect from that? The dedicated servers in Destiny 2, do we actually need those? The cap and the white level increase as far as the engrams go, and then we have a special topic for the end. So first, we're going to get into Red Dead Redemption 2. They had just announced this game. How do you guys feel about it? Did you play the first one? Do you like it? Do you like the fact that Rockstar's returning to the series? And are you anticipating it? We'll go ahead and start with Angry Iceberg.
I didn't play it a whole lot, the original. I understand why people like it. I think it was, it was a good game for what it was. I mean, essentially GTA in the Wild West. So from that standpoint, I think it was a well-made game. The environment's really cool. There was a lot of really cool stuff you could do. It was different from really anything that was out at the time. So that's pretty neat. I never really got too far into it, but I didn't give it a whole lot of chance. Because I rented it from Gamefly and just didn't really capture me. But I understand why people would like it. And I think everybody knew that they were going to make another one. I mean, it was just a matter of time. Rockstar really, really likes money. And so, I mean, unlike some dumb company like Valve, which, just sitting on a gold mine, so I think,
Halfway 3.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to derail the conversation by going into how Half-Life 3 needs to be made. But the point is, that, I think they're making a lot of people happy. We're going to be able to use, the next gen technology as far as console, or the current gen, I should say now. But as far as consoles are concerned, they'll be able to maybe even include the Xbox Scorpio, Project Scorpio in there, and then some of the UHD capabilities of some of the these newer platforms. But and then of course they got the PC, which will obviously outperform everything. But so there's definitely the opportunity to make it even bigger than it was. What the original was, and just make more room for more areas and more activities and a lot of cool storylines and whatnot. So it should be pretty exciting for people that really like that type of game, that type of genre. And I'll probably give it a shot. I might even go back and try to give the original Red Dead Redemption a shot again, just to see if maybe it'll kind of hook me, because I do really enjoy the GTA series. At least 4 and 5 I've really enjoyed. The previous ones I just never got into, just because it was a timing thing, and I probably would have had the timing been right. But I'm looking forward to it, but again, I think just everybody knew it was coming, and so here it is. Congratulations. See it, whatever.
All right, Blue.
I literally never even touched the first game. I know. I get that a lot when I bring up. There's a lot of games I haven't played that I probably should have, and arguably the main reason that I didn't is because I could never get into Grand Theft Auto. My ability to focus on a game like Grand Theft Auto in an open world is non-existent. I've got pretty severe ADHD, so in an open world where all of a sudden they're like, here's guns and you can get chased by the cops and just go crazy for a while, that's what I'm gonna do. And when people said Red Dead was GTA with horses, I go, well, I'm not gonna be able to focus on that at all, so I skipped it. I do think that with all these next gen console capabilities and things like that, I think they're going to be able to do some really cool stuff with open world games in general. So I'm excited about that. It goes with Destiny 2, which I believe will have more of an open world feel. I think that the capabilities of making Red Dead Redemption 2 phenomenal, which not to say the first one wasn't. I have literally no commentary on whether it was good or bad. I hear nothing but good things though. But my favorite thing about it, hands down, and I've been saying this for a little while now, is my favorite game right now is Twitter. And Twitter's response to Rockstar was some of my favorite stuff ever. The way people, I don't know if you guys saw the ping pong edit. There were so many great edits of things to make them look like they were launching a different game, and it was just hysterical.
Wow.
So I did enjoy the kind of joke marketing that came around with it as well.
Yeah, I honestly loved what they did on Twitter. I was pretty much glued to their feed for like 5 hours, just seeing exactly what was going on and what they were doing with it. The ping pong stuff was absolutely brilliant. I'm hoping that it's very expansive, but I'm also hoping that they can really drive your focus to a linear story. Because that's something that Red Dead Redemption story lacked. Because you would think that you're doing a story mission, but you're really doing like side missions for the actual story mission. And in my experience, it kind of took away from the immersiveness of the gameplay. I'm happy that they're coming out with 2. I think it's about time. They've kind of rested on GTA 5 for a little while now. So I'm really looking forward to Red Dead 2. I think it's going to breathe a breath of fresh air into the series. I hope they come out with a bunch of DLC for it too, because we all love our Red Dead Nightmare, the DLC with the zombies and whatnot. I can't wait for that. So
can we just make it into? Can we just like, instead of making Red Dead Redemption 2, let's make a better game. Let's make Westworld the game.
I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's really good.
Oh, dude! I mean, I'm totally hooked. I mean, I was hooked from episode 1, and it's rare for me to get that into a show from the first episode. And again, I'm freaking totally opening a can of worms here and derailing everything. But I mean, seriously, how great would it be if they were just like, yeah, this is Red Dead Redemption, but it's really Westworld, the video game. We decided to change it to that because fuck it, that's what everybody wants.
Whenever you said that, it made me think of Westwood Studios. I want a remake of the original Command and Conquer. I want the original Command and Conquer and Red Alert.
All right, that's officially off the rails.
I was gonna say officially derailed. We've gone too far.
Like he triggered it. I'm triggered officially. No. So, all right. So let's go ahead and wrangle this back in. Haha. Red Dead Redemption 2. Get it? Wrangle. New heart.
Okay.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah. He had to stretch for that. Bad puns. Yeah. Fun to hear, Kadex Gaming. New hard mode raid. How do you guys like it? I know you guys have both attempted. I know you guys have both played it. How do you guys like it so far? We'll go ahead and start with Blue.
I thought it was great. I thought it was exceptionally lopsided, but I thought it was great. I guess I don't like that my main hurdle is the first boss fight, because Vosik is hand over fist the most difficult part of the hard raid. And one of the things that I thought all the other raids did really well is they give you the ability to get gear even if your team isn't good enough to get through the whole thing. So maybe you'll get stuck with only having a set of boots and a chest piece without ever getting the gauntlets and the helmet or something like that, and you'll never be able to get your hands on the primaries because your team isn't good enough. But you'll be able to level up and have the chance to keep working harder and working with your team and getting better gear through playing it over and over again to the point that you can. Well, in this one, you play the opening part, which is essentially the same thing. I'm pretty sure it might actually be with the exact same thing.
Yeah. And
then you get to the first boss, which my team, which is the same raid team I've been running with for over a year now, and we were stuck at Vosik. We were running with a couple people that were, we had a 380 and a 383, so it was a little tough. But we were stuck there for like an hour and a half. And it was because there's just so many ads, and we were trying to figure out the right strategy, and it was hand over fist the most difficult part of the raid. And I thought that it was bizarre that was placed so early in the raid, and it makes me kind of concerned for the people coming in who don't have the high level. Like for us as streamers and as content creators, we tend to be of high enough light level when that stuff drops to just be able to jump in and do it, especially with this raid where you could actually over level through the whole thing. But if you're a casual player, which I know a lot of people are, more than we are the 1%, getting into that raid and being of the right light level can be difficult. And sometimes it's nice to go in the first few weeks and just beat the first 2 bosses, get the gear you can, and then go back to grinding strikes or whatever. And Vosic being as difficult as he is makes that really difficult. But all in all, I thought it was good because the raid is so well built mechanically that just having the no respawn added made it difficult enough, I think. And then adding the turrets and the second round of bombs and the last 2 parts and the walker. I thought it was a nice way of rounding it over. Those 3 encounters all felt well-rounded. They just felt like solid and good. But that Vosic fight, I don't think it'll be too difficult in 2 months. But right now, as people are trying to level up to become proficient at the raid and have strong enough teams, it's a difficult fight to get through at a low light level.
Okay, angry.
Yeah, well, I agree with a lot of his points. Here's the thing. I think it just comes down to that they really didn't add a whole lot to the raid. And again, they never really did. I mean, they really almost added nothing to like Vault of Glass or Crota, really for that point. I mean, maybe a little bit to Crota, but
or Kingsfall.
Well, Kingsfall, you did have the Knights, so that was a significant change. That was new. That was something different that we hadn't experienced previous. Whereas this one is pretty much you get to throw some more balls, and there's turrets, and there's a spider walker. Right? It doesn't really fundamentally really make it all that much more difficult, especially the last encounter, the last 2 encounters. Really, it's really not that much more difficult. It's pretty much the same. I mean, the raid group that I went through, we got it pretty much right away with the last two encounters. And as far as Vosic's concerned, yeah, there's gonna be people that are gonna have a hard time with it. But the thing is the whole thing, even with the Spider Walker, it's about being a little bit more patient. You don't have to go and throw all those bombs all at once. I mean, if you have to take an extra round, go ahead. Or if it's whatever. It is more difficult than the original encounter, which is good. But overall, like I said, it won't take but maybe a week or 2, and it won't even be that much of an issue. People will find certain strategies to get around some of the more difficult parts of that encounter. And overall, I think it took us, 2 tries to get through that part with the grade group that I was with. Now, mind you, there was only 2 people left alive for the last 2 bomb phases, but we still got through it. So I mean, it's just about patience, really, and thinking a little bit before you jump in.
Okay. Little known fact: breaking the 4th wall. Angry's cheesing Vosix right now.
Yeah,
I'm joking. Yeah, he's cheesing it one man. He's going ham on it. But yeah, it was kind of interesting that they made that the new hardest fight in the raid, especially being the first boss, the second encounter but the first boss. That was a little bit strange. The fact that they added the walker to the Death Zamboni fight kind of sounded a little lazy, and it looked lazy. They just kind of swapped enemies out with a walker, and that's basically what you get. Last 2 fights, a little bit more the same, a little bit more challenging, but it's not as bad as the Vosix fight. That fight just seems like chaos the first time you roll it on hard mode, and that's exactly what it was. It was pretty much, hell in a handbasket. So it was kind of strange to see that right off the bat. You going into there fighting Vosix and finally beating him, you're thinking that, the Zamboni and the last 2 encounters are going to be really epic, and then they just kind of fall flat because you already know what's coming. But yeah, I mean, for a hard mode raid, as it's departure to a normal, it fits the bill right now, because it is very hard for people to get through the raid right now. It's going to be hard for people to get up to 410 or to 400, not 410. And it's that threshold, like Blue said, we're the 1% of people who are of adequate light to be playing the raid right now. That means 99% of casual players are not going to be able to play the raid probably for another week or 2 at least.
Well, here's the thing: is that right now they've made leveling up quite a bit easier than it was pre-raid. Because you look at, I mean, your blues now decrypting up to 386 or 365. Your purples are now decrypting up to 385. You can go into the forge and get up to 400 light level ghosts and artifacts. You're still looking at Iron Banner and Trials gear still going to be dropping at up to 400 light level. Exotics can still go up to 400 light level. So I mean, honestly, I think getting raid level, I mean, you can get to 385 pretty easily now, and that's really all you need to be successful at this, at that raid. So I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I think it's going to take just a very short amount of time before people are just breezing through it, honestly. Once they get a good strategy for Vasek, it's not going to be that much of a problem. I really don't think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we definitely need some pro strats going.
I don't agree, though, that the Walker was lazy. I thought the Walker was kind of a cool... Yes, they swapped out the enemies, and that's all that they did, but it makes you think, especially the first time it drops, it makes you think on your feet on how are we going to approach this, because instead of just going up with a couple swords or with a Stormcaller, you all of a sudden, I'm sitting, like the way we did it is I sat back, I got the sniper drop right off the bat, and I sat back with that awesome sniper. Get your hands on it for the raid. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I sat back with that, and I just took it out with a couple other people. Well, people were still moving parts, and a couple guys went up top. It made you change the way you do the raid. So maybe it was just a simple swap out of enemies, but it makes you think on your feet, and it's a bigger enemy. They don't, sometimes you can take out a couple of enemies and leave one person on ad control. Well, you have everyone else moving parts, whereas this was like, you can't just sneak past it. You gotta take this thing and you gotta do it quick. So I thought it was an interesting way of changing it enough. That's the thing is you lose one person in that section, and all of a sudden the way you carry these items is way different. You have 3 people carrying and 2 people walking. When those three people drop, one of those items isn't going to be able to move as fast. So I mean, the just dying, the permadeath is makes it difficult enough as is, in my opinion. So just changing it up, I think, makes it just more interesting and more exciting. When you play between the two.
Yeah, and the one thing that makes it, I mean, here's the one thing too you have to consider is that they did extend the length of the encounter because of the walkers. So it's really, again, it's about, I kind of mentioned before about being patient. I mean, unless you're trying to go for that record book thing, the entry. So I mean, other than that, I mean, you can take your time on it because really the rest of the timer doesn't really continue until you drop the walker. So hopefully by that time you've already lowered the bridge and people are starting to move up, and it's really at that point shouldn't be too much of an issue as long as people can stay alive, which obviously can be a challenge with how hectic that encounter can possibly be, with all the ships dropping spider grenades or grenades or whatnot.
Right. And to clarify, the way I meant lazy is the fact that they just swapped out one enemy group set for the spider tank, that they didn't add anything like a new mechanic or maybe like a 4th part that you're moving or whatnot, or multiple parts, or maybe a longer debuff from moving the parts and whatnot. That's what I meant by lazy, that they changed one section of that fight, that they didn't change multiple sections. So that's just a bit of a clarification. I didn't mean that, oh my gosh, they just swapped a red bar for a yellow bar. No.
I mean, in response to that, though, in the Axis fights, all they did was change one thing in both of those encounters. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get on those too. But
here's the thing. I just wanted to go ahead and
point one thing out.
Yeah, you got to try to remember though that, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they built this the same way they built the Kingsfall raid, by doing hard mode first and then removing things from hard mode to make normal. So it really depends on how much they really wanted to take out of hard mode. And again, I mean, the way that the final fight plays out is really not that more difficult. In some ways, it's almost just as easy, or if not maybe a little bit easier, because it gives you actually a little bit of added time to get your pieces into place as far as your coverage, your empowered coverage. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a little disappointing. I expected more. I expected there to be something from the the supercharged thing being more important, or actually being an element in it, and it really wasn't, or it isn't. So I mean, it might as well not even be there because like who really uses it for anything?
I know. I've never done it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've heard of teams that prepared for hard raid by using it, and because everybody kind of expected it to be, or a lot of people expected it to be that. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just like I said, the devs got together. It's like, how are we going to make this more difficult? We'll add a few more balls, a spider walker, and we'll make the monitors actually bigger and easier to see because oh man, that's going to really throw them for a loop.
Yeah.
Instead of, because we were talking and that I think that the community actually came up with better ideas to make the raid more challenging themselves, and you don't necessarily have to make it a super difficult thing, but just more interesting.
Well, you might see those implemented in challenge mode, so you never know.
Well, I don't think so because unless they change their philosophy from King's Fall, they didn't change in the mechanics. All they did was they changed how you approached the encounters. They changed how you did the encounters. So I don't expect that to change. But of course, I've been wrong on other things, but I don't see the mechanics changing just because they're challenge mode, because you have to be able to enter in unless they have a whole separate playlist that says challenge mode. They can't change the mechanics. They have to basically change the way that you perform the mechanics. Yeah,
because I'm gonna reference the Gorgoroth fight for challenge mode when you had all 6 people grab his gaze. Now they intended that to work with 6 orbs, but everybody found out you had to use 1 or 2 maybe in order to get that done. Right. But if that was a 6 orb strat, then that does actually change the mechanic, having 6 gaze holders, because then you're changing up almost everything about the fight.
Well, so again, it doesn't change the mechanics. It changes how you approach it. Instead of just using the 1, you're using 6 now. It doesn't change. Right, yeah. I mean, the mechanic is still there. It's you can still go and you do 6 orbs, or 6, drop the 6 orbs to complete the encounter. So that doesn't really change anything. It changes how you approach it. Just like with having to with the Oryx challenge. The interesting thing about that is it actually showed us a much easier way to approach the Oryx encounter that that nobody was really doing up until that point. A lot of teams were doing the no night strat because they didn't realize. A lot of people didn't realize that you could just leave all of the orbs till last, and you could you could skip the bombing run, which for a lot of teams that was a challenge. So it's one of those things. Like, again, I don't think the mechanics themselves are going to change. It's just the way that you have to perform them. For example, you may have to have different people holding, carrying the cannons each round or something to that effect. I mean, like, you can't fire off, no 2 people can fire off the same cannon, during the encounter or something to that effect, or no 2 people can throw the bombs, twice in a row. I don't know, man. It's one of those things that, like, it's going to be something to that effect. Honestly.
Yeah, you can't touch more than 1 canister during the Death Zamboni fight. You can't touch the same canister twice.
Right, exactly. And that, well, yeah, if they for some reason I'm thinking that that's not going to be a part of the challenge. But maybe. I mean, if it is, that's exactly what it would be like. That's probably what it would be, but I think I saw something where it was just going to be Axis and the other dude were the challenges.
I'm pretty sure that they'd have something for Death Zamboni, because there's a lot of things that you could do with that encounter in order to make it really interesting. Like, you could have it so where you have to carry it in pairs instead of solo.
Well, again, that would change the mechanics of it.
Yeah, it would change mechanics. Or, like I said, you could only touch 1 part 1 time.
Well, yeah, see, that's how it would be. Rotating. That's about the only thing they'd be able to do for that one.
Yeah, yeah, that would be. Either that or adding more bomb or more mines and whatnot.
Well, again, changing mechanics. Yeah. All these things that all these things that could have been done in hard mode,
I'm telling you, the one thing that shocked me the most, hands down, about the hard mode is that they didn't put those floor traps that are through the entire story into the Zamboni fight. Because to me, the struggle isn't the ad clearing, it's the moving of the parts. Because it disables 3 people, and the slower those 3 people go, then the slower the encounter goes. And if you started adding those floor traps where you had to have like one person going with the people walking and shooting them out as they go, like on top of the mines that are popping up, that's where I kind of expected them to get us, and then I didn't see them, and people were, they're only there when the Hive are there. I was like, there's still a Siva creation, though. There's not to say they couldn't use them in the raid. So I was convinced that that's what we were going to see there, at least in a couple of spots. Maybe in that, you go down that first ramp and then you end up in that big open area with the bridge over the top. And if you go the low route, and I figured there'd be 2 or 3 in there just to make it a little more difficult. And because those respawn, whereas when the mines come up, you shoot them or you don't, and when they're done, they're done. But those floor traps after a couple seconds come back. So I thought that's for sure how they were going to get us in the heroic mode, and they didn't show up anywhere.
I was almost disappointed that we didn't see Zordon at the end of the heroic mode. Just pop up and just pop up and have an inspirational message to the Guardians.
Oh my god!
You guys don't know who Zordon is. You guys need to reevaluate childhoods.
You guys, okay, so I'm just a little caveat. Zordon was a little bit after my time. I mean, like, I didn't really know who the fuck Zordon was until I started on Twitch like a year ago. Are you Zordon? I'm like, who the fuck is Zordon?
I never even thought of that. That's awesome.
So,
of course. Okay, quick thoughts about the cap increase. Are you guys in favor for the 400? Do you guys want it a little bit higher? Or do you guys think 400 is a good place to go? We'll go ahead and start with Blue.
I mean, 400's fine. I've kind of given up. I used to be really upset about the light level increases. April update, I think was, I'm gonna be honest, this could be unpopular opinion. I thought the April update was the worst thing they ever did to Destiny. I didn't like the way that they changed. I don't like the 1-to-1 infusion. I mean, I'm used to it now, and it's nice. It's easy, but the grind is kind of gone for me, and they didn't give and a significant light increase, 15, and everyone was like, yeah, but that's year 1, the Dark Below is only equivalent of 10 light increase. I was like, well, yeah, but we're talking about a time span where we got the House of Wolves and Dark Below, which would have been 20, so we're actually lower than year 1. It was all these things. So for me, going from 335 to 400 on something that's smaller than the Taken King, and it's technically year 3, but they're not calling it year 3, I'm okay with the number we're at, because light level doesn't matter anymore. And I still don't understand why they display 40 over everyone's names as if that changes ever. Like they put your normal level next to your name when you're running around in whatever game you're playing, and almost everyone's level 40 now. So I don't understand why that's still
level
shows
40.
Up
well,
there.
I would say it's level 40 just because level 40 is our actual level. Light level is a different kind of thing within the mechanics of the game. And what I would say to that is that you have level like 42 enemies, and it's gonna change how your damage and whatnot is for that. And I mean, it's a little weird, but at some point you're just like, whatever. It's like, that's one thing. Last thing that I really think about, unless they say, okay, now the light level cap is now 45, or not light level, but your regular level cap, and then your light level goes beyond that. For future DLCs, which I mean, like whatever, because Destiny 2. But so I mean, I think that this is a lot of people call it essentially a 3-year beta. Destiny 2 is going to be the real game, hopefully. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Many hopes have been dashed. So many hopes have been dashed.
I still think, Destiny yesterday was, the number 2 game on Twitch beside, behind League of Legends. Cause who's going to be, whatever. But still, for people saying that Destiny's dead, is definitely not dead. Bungie has done a really good job of cultivating this community that still continues to play the game and keeps people coming back. And, it really is kind of an amazing story of how people like myself have put, over 3,000 hours into this game over the past 2 years. and continue to come back and play every single day. Now, of course, me being a Twitch streamer plays a large role in that, obviously, but there's still a lot of people who aren't streamers that still come back and play every day and still interested, and they still drawing a new audience. And by the time Destiny 2 comes out, if they play their cards right, they could have something even bigger on their hands, or it could fall flat and nobody cares. So I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. But again, you're also going to be drawing in the PC crowd, because they've already confirmed that it's going to be on PC. So that but how is that going to thin the crowd out? I don't think it is, but maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But I mean, Destiny still has a lot, they still have their development cycle. They're sure doing a lot better than another game that was supposed to kill it, The Division.
Which one? Which one are we talking about? Which game was which of the games that was supposed to kill Destiny?
That was supposed to kill it?
Division.
But I mean, like,
I know.
Yeah, but it's so despite here's the thing, and I was and I had a nice long conversation with Luke Smith at Destiny Community Con, and I even told him, I was like, for as much criticism as you guys get, man, you still, your audience is amazing, and I said, it just seems like everybody's so passionate about this game because you guys did such a good job on it, on the base of it. They just want it to be even better. And, and he said, yeah, it's a good thing to have, such a passionate audience, or passionate fan base. And it is. So, there's very few games out there where, going into year 3, this type of game with the limited content that this game really actually has, people are still this passionate about it and, want to see it, succeed, and then they add, they finally add, private matches. So that's going to add some life, to it, when the content kind of dries up, come January, February, until they come out with either Destiny 2 or they come out with some, surprise DLC, like say, year 1 and 2 raids, back in the fold at a higher light level with,
that'd be great.
So, but at the same time, unless they're going to be adding, more quests along with that, and some different, additions, that's not going to last very long, but might last long enough to get us through till Destiny 2. I mean, we'll kind of see how that plays out, but.
One last comment on the light cap. I was thinking about it, actually. I was kind of curious about it when it was happening, and then when we were talking about Blues decrypting at 365 earlier, because I actually didn't know what Blues decrypted at, because I passed that. But I wonder, because I'm pretty sure the normal raid was originally touted to be a 370 encounter, and they bumped it up to a 380 encounter, and kind of quietly. Because I remember them telling us it would be in either one of the TWABs or something, that it was going to be a 370 encounter, the normal raid. I wonder if they weren't, at the end of the strikes, if they weren't supposed to be dropping up to 365 the way they were, and that was a bug, and that's why they had. Yeah, the Blues at the end of the strikes that were dropping up to 365 before the normal raid came out, sure. And that's how everyone was grinding up. I wonder if that was a bug, and that's why they had to change the light level of the raid, and if it would that, because now that we know that they decrypt up to 365 in the era of the hard raid, like the max cap that you can reach, I just kind of wonder if maybe that's where we're at. I wonder if that's what happened, and I don't know. I don't know anything else on it. I'm just kind of speculating, but there was a few things that happened when that raid launched and everything, or when the Rise of Iron launched, and everyone started grinding up on these Blues in the like. Didn't anyone else stop and think that's pretty strange?
Well, it was those were strike specific loot drops. They weren't just the the decryption ones. So I think those were supposed to, maybe not in the 320 playlist.
The 2 Blues you get at the end of the...
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think we could probably go find some documentation to figure out either way what the original intent was, because I do think that they actually called it out that those were supposed to drop up to 365, and that but I may be mistaken on that. But I think then of course the actual engrams would decrypt at the higher rate. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm sure sure we could find a patch notes or documentation from when it first came out that they would say exactly what to expect. And here's, by the way, speaking of patch notes, here's going to be something I'm going to complain about, and my stream heard me complain about it yesterday, was the whole you can't level you won't get those up to 400 drops until after the raid drops, and they didn't tell us that until yesterday, until like after the patch dropped. They put that in the patch notes when everybody was like, okay, the patch is dropping at 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, guess what? We can go in and get ready for the raid at 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, and then Bungie's like, nah, nope.
Well, you know what?
We don't care if you planned your whole day around this.
They did that for a reason, though. They did this where people could not sit in the tower and white level up for the hard mode.
Yeah, but they could have just told us. They could have been like, look, I mean, they could have told us the day before, or even, like whatever. It's not like they would have changed anything if they could have told us before.
Well, Bungie's been doing everything they can to slow the progress of speed players trying to level up fast. They've done pretty much everything they could possibly do.
Right, but because again, just telling us that you wouldn't be able to do that until the raid drops would have been fine. Everybody, it wouldn't have been an issue. You understand what I'm saying? Like, instead of being like making us think that you could, and then all of a sudden at the last minute, nope.
Well, it's their second attempt of having us burn our engrams at the tower, because they did that day one of Rise of Iron, because we were burning engrams at the tower, wondering what the heck's happening. And then they did it again with the hard mode raid. So it's pretty much the same tactic that they used for Rise of Iron, but they just did it with the hard mode raid instead of with a new content release.
I don't understand. What did they do with the release of Rise of Iron? Because I don't remember them.
You couldn't tower level up your engram light level with just engrams.
Yeah, you could.
You could. It was just very slow. They changed the way that it works, so it was slower, but you could still do it.
Wait, you could up to 365?
No. Well, you could do it. I mean, if you had, Grenader Jake, he was up to 385 like that first day. So everything, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He was up to 400 like yesterday. He was already up to 400.
He had 400.
Yeah, the thing is, so it wasn't impossible. No, it was actually very easy, but you had to kind of understand how to do it instead of, it was a little more difficult because, then it is technically right now it was a lot more difficult back then. Now it's a lot easier to get a higher level. I was, I got up to 394, almost 395 with, with the hard raid loot. And I didn't really even have all that much. So, the thing's going to slow some people down, of course. Well, now anyway, is that faction packages and, those types of packages only decrypt up to, 390. So that does change, that aspect of it a little bit. But you're still, as long as you had exotics to decrypt, it really wasn't that hard of a problem. If you had some time to go run into, jump into Archon's Forge, you could, get artifacts and ghosts. So, it wasn't that big of an issue. So
how you guys feel about the Archon Forge change? The fact that it drops a little bit more loot and whatnot.
I love it.
Yeah, it gives you a reason to play it.
I love playing Archon's Forge. It's one of my favorite things. And the other day we did that thing where we found a blueberry in there that was by himself, and he was nice enough to let us come in, and he invited me into his game. I invited another friend in, and I messaged him, when you're done, can you just make me party leader? And he was absolutely. We ended up getting six people from the stream into Archon's Forge, and we were in there for 2 hours. I'm a fusion rifle guy, so I was chasing the Saladin's Vigil, and we did it for 2-3 hours, and I didn't get one, but I got one a couple days later, but that day, no luck. But it's too much fun. It's pure unadulterated shooter, and at the core, we all picked up Destiny because it was a shooter, and I think that it does well the things that Prison of Elders and Court of Orcs didn't do well. And that makes me enjoy it. I wish that you could carry more than one offering. There are things that make it that they could do to make it better. But as far as having kind of a mini horde mode, for lack of a better term, I think they did a really good job with it. And I just enjoy the gameplay. When I don't want to think, when I just want to hang out on stream and just talk and get people involved, I think it's just a fantastic way to burn some time and grind some loot.
Yeah, it's just mindless shooting shit. It is. Pretty much, as you guys know, generally when we're doing the podcast, I'm playing a game. Guess what I was just doing for the last 30 minutes? Archon's Forge, baby. I got 8 ghosts and 2 artifacts.
I'm totally not in Archon's Forge right now.
But I mean,
Yeah,
like, so like, and you guys, I mean, I was
busy
very,
hosting this,
very
dang it.
interactive in the, in the conversation, and relatively coherent thoughts as well. So I mean, it's not like I was thinking too much about what I was doing. I was just kind of shooting shit, and there was a few other people in there, but I mean, we just three manned a perfected something
Zero offering?
No, there was like a few perfected offerings that we did. Like, there was just three of us in there, and all I was doing was talking to you guys, and I had my raise lighter out and was just freaking wrecking house. So yeah, I mean, it's it's just mindless shoot 'em ups. You don't really have to think about it too much. So
Okay, we have we have time for one last topic tonight. Destiny 2. We're all awaiting Destiny 2 to see what Bungie's going to come up with and see if they can kind of perfect the wrongdoings of Destiny 1. And amongst one of the wrongdoings of Destiny 1 is dedicated servers. Do you think Destiny 2 absolutely have to have dedicated servers? Let's go ahead and start with Iceberg.
I think since, at least on the PC side, I believe you do, just because, I mean, I don't really know how all that works. So I'm just going to say yes. I mean, I think... I think that if you're gonna have PC, you almost have to have dedicated servers. I really don't know how non-dedicated servers really would work on PC with all the various tech that they'd have to deal with. I mean, I honestly just don't know how that would work. So from that standpoint, I would say yes. From the console standpoint, depends on which way Activision wants to take it. If they want people to take it seriously on, as an MLG style game or something that's going to be a part of MLG, which I think it very easily could. I think Destiny is a very entertaining game to watch on the PvP end. I guess I'm fairly biased, but the point is that a lot of the guys that are really big into PvP, one of the things they've been calling out for a really long time is dedicated servers. So I think that it would be important and it would behoove them to make sure that they had dedicated servers available, right away for everybody, so they could actually turn it into something that people would actually play and take seriously and develop that competitive side of Destiny. In the same time, even the casual people would probably appreciate it. Just because your lag would be hopefully greatly reduced in most cases.
All right, Blue.
I mean, I struggle with the concept of it would absolutely have to have something. It just sounds demanding of the devs, and I don't know. I have no idea what we're actually gonna get. I will say it would be super nice. I would really enjoy dedicated servers, and I think it would make the gaming experience better. Does it absolutely have to happen? No. In fact, the kind of person I am, that the statement of it absolutely has to happen makes me go, well, maybe you can do another game without him then. Like, we'll show you that it doesn't have to have. I don't know. I just don't like that phrasing, but it would make life a lot easier. I don't know a whole lot about PC gaming. I do a little bit of it, but I don't know a lot about it. So if dedicated servers is something that is done to help PC gaming in one way or another, that basically news to me. I have no idea. But as far as the console stuff, it would be a fantastic addition to make the game a lot better than it currently is. Is it absolutely necessary? No. At the end of the day, with all of our complaints about Destiny, if it was that bad, we wouldn't still be playing it. So, that's kind of what I fall back on is the concept of does it absolutely have to happen? No. If they announce, yes, Destiny 2 is coming out and it will not have dedicated servers, I'm not going to go, well, screw that then. I ain't buying it. I'm still going to pick it up, still going to play it, still going to love it. And it would be nice. I think that's the easiest way of putting it. It would be very nice. So
I think it would behoove Bungie and Activision in order to implant dedicated servers, because one, Destiny right now, it does have server issues from time to time. I'm not saying 100% of the time servers are so laggy. Oh my god, that's why I got headshot by Mida. No, that's not exactly what happens. Peer-to-peer can be a problem, especially during the PvE side, because the PvE connection actually affects the raid. I actually had that happen to me yesterday morning. I was doing normal raid before the hard mode raid launched, and somebody was just running into a wall. And then you saw servitors just basically teleporting around the map like madness. So that was a lot of fun. I think the scale of Destiny 2 and the fact that it's bringing PC on as well might dictate the fact that it might be a need for dedicated servers, because cross-platform play might be a thing by that time. You got to realize that, cross-platform play for Rocket League and a few other games, at least on PC side, is becoming a reality. And I think Destiny 2 would actually benefit greatly from cross-platform play. That way you can play with people on PC, you can play with people on Xbox, you can play with people on PS4, regardless of what console or platform you have. And I think dedicated servers would go a long way of helping that become a reality, especially for something like Destiny 2.
Yeah.
But if there's no other comments, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. It is 10 minutes until Angry Iceberg time. So we are going to go around the room. It's Angry.
Anyway. What now?
Want to get Iceberg? Okay. So we're going to go around the room, introduce ourselves. We'll go ahead and start with our special, very, very, very special guest. I'm the Blue Ranger. Tell us where we can find you, what we can find you doing there, and when we can find you there.
Well, he said it. I'm the Blue Ranger. You can find me Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/ImTheBlueRanger. And I stream a variety of games, but I play mostly Destiny. I do have 2,000 hours into the game, and I love it to death. So I'm loving this content. I think Rise of Iron is one of the best iterations of the game we've ever had. So I've been playing a lot of that, but I do play a variety of games. On Mondays, we play horror games and things like that. But I also have a daily YouTube channel, youtube.com/ImTheBlueRanger. 1 to 2 videos daily. Those are Let's Plays from all over the board, and some sprinkled in Destiny content as well. If those things interest you, check them out. I put a lot of work into those, and I think a lot of people have started to catch on and are starting to enjoy them. So hopefully you check those things out, and let me know what you think. I love feedback. And thanks for having me on, guys.
No worries. Angry Iceberg.
Well, if you are watching me live, well, then you know exactly where to find me here on twitch.tv/angry_iceberg. But if you're watching me on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/angryicebergtv, then you need to come over to twitch.tv/angry_iceberg to find me live 7 days a week on the Xbox and the PS4, mostly playing Destiny. I do plan on mixing things up in the future a little bit, not a whole lot, but just enough to make it so I don't lose my mind, because there are other games that I do want to play, including Titanfall 2, which will be coming out not this Friday, but next Friday, which I'm super excited about. And so we'll be playing through that campaign at the very least. You can also find me on Twitter, twitter.com/angry_iceberg, Instagram, and again, angry_iceberg, and on the Facebook at The Angry Iceberg, facebook.com/The Angry Iceberg. You can also come by, and I am a partner streamer, so not that you're required to be a sub to participate in any activities on the stream with me, but if you do have an extra $4.99 laying around and you want those awesome sub exclusive emotes, which I think are awesome, but I'm a little bit biased, you can come by and hit that subscribe button. I might appreciate it. And you also get a really dope little a shot glass sub badge to show off to everybody. Also, guys, I did just launch my very first Twitch partner t-shirt campaign, which you can find at teespring.com/AI Twitch1. That is the code or the URL, or you can come on over to my channel. There is a panel you can click on, will bring you right there. And you can, it comes in, of course, normal t-shirt. You can get the hoodie, and you can also, there are the women's styles there as well. So make sure you go and check that out over there on Teespring. It's my very first official Twitch partner merchandise. It has the logo that was created for me recently by the Captain Twaz. He's the graphic artist that works with other great streamers such as King of Thalian, Professor Broman, and a number of others. Yeah, go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, come by and see me every single day right here on twitch.tv/angry_iceberg. And if you're watching me live, well, you're watching me here right now. there's that follow button. It's absolutely free. You can go ahead and click on that. Otherwise, I love you.
And my name is Kadex Gaming, Twitch stream dedicated helping you in game and in life. I currently do one wife to life challenges for Borderlands 2. I do that 6 days a week. On the 7th day, which is Monday, I actually stream on stackup.org, twitch.tv/stackup.org, all spelled out, even the dot. I'm there from 8 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, helping support veterans and whatnot. And I'd like to thank our very special guest, ImTheBlueRanger, for once again being on the podcast and talking some Destiny with us, and just being an awesome dude.
The pleasure's all mine.
I'd also like to thank Angry Iceberg. I did sub to his beard, not him, because the beard is majestic and is made from the beard of Western men. And my name is KX Gaming. So, from all of us at the Loading Screen Podcast, keep calm and game on. Bounce it out. Just
all
bounce
right.
it out.